we can say with certainty we have oil to this side. Welcome back to Tiger's Garage. Today we are back on the 440, getting it ready to finally button it up for good. Push rods are showing up in 2 days. So the plan for today is we're going to check piston to valve, and then we've got some like water pump, mechanical fuel pump, block off plate, like some little stuff like that to get buttoned up. That way when the push rods show up, stick them in the holes, and then this is a complete motor all of a sudden. So first things first, we are going to pull this cylinder head off, Play-Doh up the piston, and then I built a couple 9-inch push rods just for checking. The first step is going to be pulling off this cylinder head so we can get to the top of the piston. With the head off, we can go ahead and bring number 1 around. Oops. Somewhere in that region. So the idea here is put some modeling clay, Play-Doh, something soft without a bunch of rebound in it. Put it here, kind of cover up the valve reliefs, put the head back on, put a lifter in it, push rod, roll the motor over a couple times, and as the piston comes up and the valves are open, it will make a depression in that clay. Then you take the head back off and you measure the thickness of the clay, the compressed portion, and that gives you your piston to valve clearance. You can use any type of clay you want for this. I have red Play-Doh. Color's not important, but happens to be red. Red also happens to be my least favorite color. Okay, so that's probably too much. That's basically what you do, but then you put the head back on, roll it over like I said, it'll make marks. Then you can cut it and measure it. I'll show you all that. Grab our cylinder head. Make sure it's on the dowels. We'll get a safety bolt in there. Okay, so I have the Play-Doh in there. The head's back on and torqued. Lifter in the bore for number 1. We need push rods. So you could do this with a checking push rod if you got the light spring still in it like we do. I don't have 2 of the correct checking push rods. So what I did was kind of made my own. These are the ones that came out that were too long, the old motor. These were like 9 7/16 long. We need 9 inches, so what I did was I cut these on my bandsaw and I threaded the inside 1/4 and then I cut a bolt and kind of made like a little stud, and I made them exactly 9 inches long. I took that 7/16 out effectively. I was going to tack weld these, but the ID was just about perfect for like a easy tap in 1/4. There's not that much thread engagement, but we don't need that much. This is all in compression. They are pretty close to perfectly straight. Probably not exact, but it's not going to matter for what we're doing today. So I made 2 of them. We're going to put these in, and then we'll flip the rocker assembly up there, tighten it down, roll the motor over, and then undo all that just to get a single measurement. But that's building engines. You undo your work almost more than you do it. Flip these up in there. And now we need to put our little spacers on that hold everything together. We'll go ahead and suck this down, and then we will chase our 0 lash measurement. These don't need to be torqued to spec right now because we're using the light springs and it's coming back apart shortly. Back off these lock nuts a bit. Screw this down until we don't have any lash to speak of. Okay, right there for that one. Lock it down. And then we come over here. We're gonna roll this over until we see both valves open. 3 rotations or so will do it. Now we tear all this back off, tear the head off to see what kind of mark we made in that clay. We'll do what you're not supposed to do and break all these loose with a torque wrench. All right, well, my Play-Doh slipped around a bit, but this may be usable still. We get a clear impression of what I believe is the intake valve because it's the bigger one. So let me cut this in half and we'll take a measurement. So, rule of thumb for this is like 80 minimum for an intake valve, 100 thou minimum for an exhaust valve. We have miles, which is great. It's a little hard because my clay moved, but let's assume that this is an intake. We have more than double the recommended, so that's good enough for me. I'm not going to redo it. If it was smooshed really thin, A, I think it wouldn't have moved, and B, then I would redo it and get a better measurement. But I don't care what the number is unless it's too close, right? But more is better. It's probably not exactly true, but we have enough. So we're gonna save our Play-Doh for another day and take those checking springs out, clean the back of the valve because I'm sure there's like some Play-Doh in there now. Then we can put this on and torque it down for good. Next step is to put the real valve springs back in this thing. So we're gonna take our checking springs out. We gotta put our big valve springs back in, which you definitely can't do with your hands. So let me grab those quick. Obviously we'll do one at a time. I wonder, try to do it down here on the ground. Let's see if we can't get situated here. Okay, that actually worked all right. Now, for what is hopefully the final time, this head can go on and be fully torqued. Oh, I grabbed this wrong. Get her by the ports. Safety bolt. I'm gonna go through, get all the bolts installed, get this head torqued on there, and then we were just waiting on Pushrods to put the rest of it together. All right, it's a new day, and I got great news. Our Pushrods from Smith Brothers showed up a day early, so we're ahead of schedule. We are gonna try to get the valve train buttoned up this afternoon. Smith Brothers, all they do is Pushrods, and they're semi-local to me. They're on the same coast at least. They're out of Oregon. They make Pushrods for fuel cars, NASCAR Cup teams. They know what they're talking about. So I went ahead and I got all the lifters out of their oil bath. They're down in their bores. So now we're gonna sneak a pushrod down each hole and we'll do one side at a time, lay the rockers on. These come clean, but I'm gonna wipe each one off before we dunk it in here. One thing I am going to do, which is going to be a little annoying and take some time, but I think it's probably the right move, is if you notice on this shaft rocker setup, this hold down goes here, right? Hold down, rocker, shim, spring, shim, rocker, hold down, blah, 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 down the line. Now they don't make these rockers anymore, but I was able to dig up an old assembly manual for these, and it specifies there should be a steel shim between the hold downs and the rocker because they're both aluminum and you don't want them to gall. If you look at this, there's obviously some wear there because this never had any. I don't know why. I didn't put it together. I think I'm going to take all these off the shaft and slip this 10,000 shim in between. It's not going to affect our rocker geometry very much at all. Each one of these shims is 10,000s. And I feel like they should be there because there's wear on all of these hold downs. Not saying steel wouldn't do the same thing, but there's an aluminum shim or a steel shim on one side. I don't know why there wouldn't be on the other side. These kind of suck to take apart. I think it's right. My other concern is these are just McMaster cars shim stock that I bought. They're a little bit bigger diameter than these ones, so hopefully we don't have any interference problems. I don't think we will, But I'm gonna do one side and look at it. If I hate it, I'll take it back apart. So real quick, I'm gonna bust this down and shim it up. All right, this is probably gonna be a little bit tricky now with all the push rods in and our spacers and everything, but we'll try to set everything in there without dropping any pieces. All right, everything's kind of set up there. We're gonna back a lot of these adjusters way out because we'll have to reset lash anyway, and I think it'll help us get the rocker shafts down where they need to go. My bigger shims look like they're gonna clear just fine. Still centered over the tip of the valve. I'll have to look up the torque for these. I don't actually know it. All right, torque is 40 foot-pounds on these, which seems kind of like a lot. We're gonna go middle out. All right, that side's in there. Torque down, shims are in place. They don't look like they're gonna interfere on anything. I think that was a good move. I really do. Moving on to the other side. Same deal. Put my shims in, roll them up there, torque them down. Second time I've put that wrench there. This side was a little more of a fight. Now we've got rockers installed. There's still a bunch of lash in some of these. So we're gonna go through and set everything, hopefully for the final time, to 0 lash. So all we're doing is going around checking for loose ones, taking the lash out of it, and then going another quarter turn and doing the same thing. You could also look down here and see which ones are on the base circle and which aren't. Since we're rolling the motor over so much, I'm gonna just get the cam lubed up. So I should say, since we're rolling it over with load on it now, you know. I think we're getting close here. I've lost track of how many times I've done this. Just do it until you feel good about yourself. All right. We can confidently say now all of our rockers, adjusters are at 0 lash. We went through multiple times. Everything's been on the base circle a couple times by now. So now what we're going to do is preload our lifters. And how you do that is you take your setting at 0 lash, you come in here with your Allen and your wrench, and you give it like a half to a full turn, and that preloads it. And then you lock it down with the lock nut. And we'll give it half a turn, and then lock it down. Now this one's done. And we'll do that for all of them. You want to make sure you have enough room on your adjuster to get there. I got a better wrench, so I'm just going around and making sure that lock nuts are snug on all these. We are lashed and preloaded. Now, when we turn this over, all our valves should open and close and dance and stuff. And then when we stop and check, nothing should be loose at this point. If it is, you need to start over. We are good. All right, next thing I want to do is I want to put oil in this thing and prime it, but there's a couple holes we need to cover up first. This is the little block-off plate for the mechanical fuel pump. So I'm going to scrape the old gasket off of that and just slam this on there. Maybe. Okay, as far as I know, that's the only oil leaker that we have. I'm going to leave the valley pan and stuff off because I want to make sure we're getting oil everywhere. We got to pull the distributor drive gear out so I can spin the oil pump. I got a priming tool. I think that's it. Let's go ahead and get that out really quick, dump some oil in it, and then we'll give this thing a spin and make sure we got oil going to all our new parts. So we'll reach down in here. There we go. Up and out of the hole, put this off to the side, And then we are gonna fill this thing with oil, and we're gonna do it right in the valley. I might dribble a little up here, but we're going with the Driven BR40. It's a 10W40. This stuff, the BR, is specifically for break-in, but this is the weight we're gonna run. Talked to the engine builder about it. I mean, I guess I'm the engine builder, but I talked to the machinist about it. He likes this Driven stuff. I was probably gonna run it anyway. I run it in my other little hot rod 4-cylinder, and it works good. And it's got a bunch of zinc and stuff. Even though we're not flat tap it, it'll help us break in, and it's conventional, so it's not, there's no synthetics in it, so it'll help the ring seat a little better. So we got a 7-quart Milodon pan, so we're gonna dump in 7 quarts of this stuff right in here. When she gets low, I'll probably dribble some up here. All right, last 2, 6 and 7 going in. We'll give it a second for it to drain down while we get our priming tool out. And then the distributor, and therefore the oil pump on these big block Mopars, spin counterclockwise. So that's the direction we have to turn it if we want to pump any oil. And we do. That's the whole point. All right, priming tool, counterclockwise. This goes down this hole and engages into the oil pump. Now, one thing you don't want to do is push very hard. If you could actually hold it out a bit, that'd be best. And then we'll give her some spins. And we should feel it start to pick up oil. Oh, there we go. You hear the RPM change? I see oil at the lifters bubbling out. Oh, I hear air squirting out. You hear it? All right, I'm gonna reposition you guys to be on oil pressure watch. I'm gonna reposition myself because I was pinching my finger a bit, and we're gonna keep going. All right, and now I'm gonna give the crank a little turn just to cover up or uncover any passages down there. Still not getting much of anything to the top end. We might need more RPM for that, but I got more. There's some oil coming out of the rocker shaft. They're dripping good. I don't see it over here yet. Give it a break, give me a break. Oh Lord, I didn't realize that we were gonna make such a mess without a valve cover on it. Look down here, God damn it. We can say with certainty we have oil to this side. Let me get some absorbent mat for this. That's annoying. I did this with the valve covers off because I wanted to see it, but I didn't really want to see it like on the ground. Let me give her a little tilt back. We'll try again. See if we can't get oil to the other head. All right, this is the head we're concerned about. Ooh, it's already close to dripping. And I'll get some preemptive diapers just in case we drop oil all over. This is honestly a small price to pay for knowing you got it. I'm okay with it. Here we go. Let me check my drippage. It's still just pouring out of there. It's okay. We're gonna let this drain back a bit. We gotta keep working it till we get oil over here. My only concern is if I got the rocker shaft on upside down, it won't oil. I don't think I did that because I marked it, but oh, my brand new heads have oil all over them. That's all right. We'll clean everything up with some acetone before we put like gaskets on there or anything. All right, so I'm starting to get a little concerned. We don't have oil to this passenger side head yet. We got a bunch over here. The oil that you see leaking, I believe, is from the stuff that I poured in there. I guess I could put this valve cover on. Is there any reason not to? I know we've got oil. That would keep things a little more sanitary. Maybe we'll do that real quick. And then we can have it level and pump it, because it's not going to be in the car in this angle, hopefully, ever. You know what I mean? All right, let me see what we got here. Clean off this valve cover gasket surface. Somehow I got oil all over it. Not sure how. Let me see. All right, we're gonna go ahead and drop one of these big dogs on. That'll help our oil spilling all over the floor problem that we currently have. This side can go on. The other side, I think we might have issues with distributor to valve cover clearance, which is a known issue with these cylinder heads and certain valve covers, and I like these ones a lot. So we're gonna do that thing we do and make it fit. So also tell us if they leak. We got a breather for this somewhere. We don't need it right now, but I remember taking it off. These gaskets are thick. They got a bunch of squish, so I'm optimistic. And you know what else is cool about them? They're not blue. Why? Does every Fel-Pro gasket have to be blue? I get it. We recognize it from a mile away. Sometimes your engines aren't blue, though. I'd pay extra if they had a Fel-Pro blue versus just a black. Okay, take, I don't know, 3 at trying to get oil to this side before we freak out. Okay, I'm gonna stop and make sure I'm not leaking out the valve cover. Things are looking okay over here. Still nothing over here, huh? Frightening. Wow, I think we have a problem. Hate to say it. My drill's getting hot. All right, listen. That is not exciting news for us. Oh, never mind. I thought I saw why. Okay. Big block mopars. Shaft rocker system oils through the shaft. That shaft has a series of holes in it that need to go down into these saddles or face downward for it to work. Now, if you remember, this side fought me getting everything lined up. I'm wondering if this shaft didn't accidentally get spun so those holes aren't lining up, and that's our oil problem. I think we can check that by pulling a cap on the end. Maybe we just set this thing to 0 and preloaded it, so I would have liked to not have to relash this, but obviously if we don't have oil pressure, I'll do whatever it takes. But I need to get to the underside of here and see if my holes are in the right spot. Obviously they are over here. It's got oil flowing, but we should have it by now, I would think, and we don't. And that is a concerning thing for me. And it should be concerning for you too, because we're in this together. Now when I put this in, I put a dot on the shaft, which got covered up by one of these. I don't know which end, but I'm thinking maybe if I take one off, I can see it, or if I had to, I could roll like number 2 down into the base circle. Let's do that actually. Let's just roll it around a bit and try again before we get too crazy here. This drill is hot. Oh, we got it. Oh, it's leaking everywhere. I'm okay with that. That means we have oil. Okay, that took forever to get here, and I'm not sure why. But I did spin the motor to a different position. We might have been covering a passage or something, which is a good tip. When you're doing this, you can't just leave it static. Do it for a while, kind of purge some air, give it a half quarter turn. When you do that, you're covering and uncovering oil passages. It's important to get oil everywhere. But now we got it because it just spit oil out all over the ground. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't take that apart. A couple other things to check here. Rear main. Rear main looks dry. Little bit of maybe weepage around the pan. It's hard to say if it's the pan or residual drippage from when I spilled oil over earlier. Okay, feeling pretty good. Now, I was feeling a little nervous earlier. I don't know if you could tell, but I was. All right, now I'm at a little bit of a crossroads here. I'll tell you why. I want to put this valve cover on just to get it covered up, but I'm also pretty sure I'm going to take this valve cover back off to maybe put a little bit of clearance in one of the edges for the MSD Pro Billet distributor we have, because it's got a big honking head on it. However, I don't know how much, so I'll have to put it on anyway to check how much. So I think I'm going to do it anyway. And then after that, we can do bathtub gasket, valley pan stuff, and maybe even intake manifold. This is all done in here. I got to stab the distributor drive back in there, not a big deal. We'll probably take it out again and pre-lube it again before we fire it, because it's still going to be a couple weeks. This was more of a check than an actual pre-lube, but it doesn't hurt to get the oil moving around there. I also need to check the oil now, because I think I dropped like a quart on the floor. Fine, I bought extra. So let me clean this surface, and then we're going to put the other valve cover on, and then we'll move on to the middle. That worked good. Come on now. I really thought it was in there better than that. We'll hold it this time, how about? These are fancy button heads for when you're at the car show. This is what would be known as a bad time to drop a small washer or something down in the valley. So we're gonna be extra careful. Not totally sure there is a good time. Two on this side don't match, but I won't tell anybody. If you want, we'll put them back near the firewall. If they're a different size though, I'm gonna lose it. No, we're good. Those should probably have a washer. Let me get a washer. That's the hardest part about stuff like this for me, is getting excited to see it, you know, and then skipping steps that aren't even hard. Just like I had to walk to my toolbox and I didn't want to, but you got to do it right. Okay, like I said, I think this is probably gonna end up coming back off, so we don't need to really screech these down, but it would be nice if it didn't leak oil all over the garage. Okay, I'm feeling good because we're covering up the sensitive parts. I don't know if you guys can tell, not exactly a clean room in here. I have kept it bagged, but the bag's getting gross too, so. Okay, so the next order of business is what some people call the bathtub gasket, others call the valley pan. I don't care what you call it, here's what it is. It's the valley pan. Now this is a brand new one. And as you can see, it might be kind of challenging to get a gasket goes on both sides of this, okay? Gasket into the head, valley pan, gasket, intake manifold. It's a lot of shit to hold together and make sure it doesn't slip. High tack helps. It's actually, they call it out, like use it. We're gonna. But I don't like this one because it doesn't have the right bend. So I don't think we're gonna use it. I have this one, which as you can see, fits a ton better. Now, these are both Felpro pieces. The only difference is this one has the cutout for the factory heat crossover for like stock style heads. This one does not. There's nothing there, so I don't imagine that's going to be a problem. And I'm even more confident in that because the gasket has the hole too. So they ship the same gaskets with both of them. I put this on a month probably before, pulled the motor out of the car, chasing the leak. Yeah, well, I found it. It was cylinder number 6. This was not it. I was hopeful then. So this is not that old. I cleaned it up. We're gonna reuse it. It sits under the intake manifold. You can't even really see it. So plan of attack is to remove this for now. We are going to smear these gaskets with high tack, set them right there. This head gasket, I didn't realize, has a little lip, which is nice. It holds everything together. Both sides, sandwich. 2 more gaskets, intake manifold. Got it? Great. All right, we got our gaskets kind of glued in place just so they won't move. While those are setting up, we're gonna take this. I don't think orientation matters, but anyways, that works. We're gonna take this, and on the underside, we're gonna do a little smear of ultra black, because these have, when this is on here, there's just crossbars that go over the top that kind of clamp everything together, and we need a little bit of sealant on those 2 walls there. We got some RTV on this. We're going to carefully line it up and drop it in place, making sure the gasket stays where it's supposed to, and all of our bolt holes line up. Some good squish. Gaskets in place, RTVs in place. Wipe up a bit of my excess here. Now, do the same thing. Another set of gaskets, intake manifold, bolt it together. All the gaskets are high tacked in. While we have space, I'm gonna go ahead and just start these little hold down bars. This one's got a clamp on it for distributor stuff, and then I'll set the intake manifold on. I wanna squish this RTV before it cures. Oops, I almost put those in without the bar. I've always thought this was a pretty agricultural way to seal this off, but it's worked for more years than I've been alive, so try not to judge. You know, the Felpro gaskets are a pretty good port match to these heads. Now for the finishing touch. This is a Mopar Performance M1 single plane intake manifold. This was on the old motor. Now, would a dual plane be better for the street and low end torque production? Yes, it would. Would it look as cool? No, it wouldn't. And that is a factor that is always to be considered. Plus we had this, so we're gonna run it. I think they still make these, I have no idea. There's no water Going to the intake manifold. You can take it off without draining any coolant. They are dry up there, which means none of these bolts need sealant. They all have a touch anti-seize on them. So we're obviously going into aluminum heads at this point in our life. I'm slipping on all the oil that somebody spilled over here. Does anybody torque intake manifolds? Or you just go until it feels pretty good? I think I'm just gonna go until it feels all right. It's aluminum, don't forget. Take her easy. All right, well, I think it's gonna do it for this episode. Put my hat here to cover the carb pole. I feel good about it. We know we got oil to the heads, we got push rods, lash adjusted, all that. This is so close to going in the car. The only thing we gotta do is water pump, potentially clearance this valve cover a little bit for distributors, set our base timing, and then we are ready to, and bolt the carb on. But we're gonna use a lift plate, so that'll happen in the car. And then we're ready to fire it. So thank you so much. Please subscribe. We're almost to 100, and we'll see you guys next time.